back to Momentous Struggle. This week, Aubrey and I are going to talk about games and stuff because, that's, I guess, what we kind of do here, Aubrey, is talk about games and our interactions with games and how games make us do things and irritate people or not irritate people, irritate ourselves, things like that. We're going to go and talk about our week and stuff like that when it comes to gaming. How are you today, Aubrey?
I feel like every time I have something weird happen at my work, we're like connected, but in the worst terrible way. Like you get static feedback and something worse happens to you. Cause I ended my week getting yelled at by a woman who was accusing me of discriminating against her neurodivergence, which
is funny because like your entire household is neurodivergent, but yeah.
Including
me.
I had I was very happy to end my week early on Friday, play some games on Friday night and Saturday, and not think about work. And then I hear stories from you, and I know we're not going into it, but you had an even worse
I had a rough day. I had a rough day at work.
Like, what's going on?
Yeah, it was not fun. Yeah, I don't want to get into it. Maybe I can later on down the road, but yeah, it's wasn't a fun way to end my work week for sure. But well, that's all right. The weekend came. You know what? It's been a busy 4th of July weekend, man. Like we went up to Prescott because my kids and wife like going up there, and we went to like there's a zoo up there, which I don't know, like for people that don't live in the Arizona area, there's a huge fire that's happening in Sedona, which is like only 21% contained, and the zoo that we were going to is literally right across the street from Embry-Riddle, which is like a aeronautics university. It's like a military, it's like an Air Force Academy, but not an Air Force Academy type of a thing. So, but they were flying the fire missions out of there. So like as we're in the zoo, like these low flying firefighting airplanes were just flying over the zoo all day long as they were going out to fight that fire. And as we were driving home, we look and it's just like all you saw was just like nothing but like a wall of smoke from like, it must have been 30 miles away that you could see like just this huge plume of smoke just like billowing up out of the sky. So it's looking rough. And Sedona's such a nice place. It's like it's a very, very big touristy place and everything. So it's sad to see that happen, but that's kind of like how it goes in Arizona. Unfortunately, our summer is just our fire ridden times. I mean, it's like they made a movie about those firefighters that died, the Granite Mountain Hotshots that died in the fighting the fire here. So it's like, yeah, it just happens like crazy.
Yeah, that's tough because especially Talia and I are supposed to go to Sedona later this year, and I'm like, I don't know.
They'll recover.
Like, it'll still be good, but it's gonna be.
Well, the fire's north of Sedona. Yeah, the fire's north of Sedona. Okay. It's up near like Slide Rock, which is like probably about like a 20-minute drive north of Sedona. So it's not like right there in Sedona or anything like that. But it's close enough to where I'm like they're probably feeling the effects of all the smoke there and everything like that.
Yeah, and I know Embry-Riddle because that's on Perrin's short list of places he might go to school. Although he's suddenly talking about Yale, and I'm like, kid, what? And he's like, well, I have good enough scores that I could probably get practically a full ride. And I'm like,
sure,
okay, okay. So we'll put a pin in that for later.
It's interesting when you have these kids that are like, oh, I want to go away to college, and it's like, okay, well, you enjoy that. Like you're gonna, surviving on your own for a couple weeks out, like away from like a day away or a weekend away from home is different than going away to college for an entire on the other side of the country. But good for you, man. Go get them.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It's been an interesting week.
Sounds like it. Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I did a lot of we did last night. Went over to my wife's business partner's house, and they have a pool there, so the girls could swim together and do their thing. And we had like barbecue there. And then, man, driving home, like everyone in Arizona lights off fireworks like crazy. You could just see the smoke like hazing over the entire city as you're driving home. It felt like I was driving through the fires, the smoke from the fires were like down in Phoenix because of like how much the fireworks were going off. It was insane.
Yeah, we don't even buy fireworks anymore because so many people buy fireworks in our neighborhood that we just
Right.
walk out. We just walk outside and watch everyone else's fireworks. Like our next door neighbor had fireworks. We're like, okay, cool. We'll just do this.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are close enough. Well, they did. It was weird. So the like where the Arizona Cardinals play, it's called this place called Westgate, and they do a fireworks show like right around there every year, and they did
Yeah.
theirs on the 3rd instead of the 4th, which was interesting.
Yeah, there was a lot of that. Like there was also a fireworks show in Maryvale that was on Thursday. It wasn't even on
Yeah.
Friday. It was the second, and I was like, I that feels early, but okay, I don't know. What do I
Yeah,
know?
just multiple days. I mean, of fireworks, but so yeah, no, but it was it was a weekend for sure. It was always always happening, like, doing that stuff. But so I know that you got some games in and stuff like that. I played in the MCP league, so I really didn't get any Shatterpoint stuff in this week, unfortunately, just because it was a short week at work, so busy and stuff like that. But yeah, didn't get much in there. But yeah, I know that you played Trans Crusade, and then you also played a no. You guys did try the No Eras game as well. You and Matt Booker. So it sounds like you guys had some fun, like doing some. You had some fun weeks of or a fun week of games, getting out there and playing some different stuff.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was it was a great time on Friday. So we went to Black Banner Gaming, which Jared or Jerry Bowinkle, he has a store over on the east side, and so we went over there. It's new. It's a smaller store, but he's already got plans there. Apparently, somebody's leaving the complex like next to theirs, and he's gonna be able to move in. He's already gonna be able to move into that. Uh, Bigger spot, but he wanted to do a no eras thing. Now, it was supposed to be like a casual 2 round event, but it was also the, night before the 4th, and yeah,
Yeah,
not too many.
3rd of July. I was out of town.
Yeah, yeah, like I mean it's also like a lot of people got Friday, like a lot of places gave their employees like the Friday off going into the weekend.
Hmm.
And so like it ended up just being Matt and I. So we just played the one game, but it was super fun because we got to like do all these different synergies that otherwise wouldn't be possible. So like Matt was playing Morgan Mother Talzin with the whole Mother Talzin box, except that box was under Morgan because you can do
Hmm.
that. So
Yeah.
that you have the Night Sisters with their coordinated fire expose going into Morgan's run up melee only attack. So that's pretty gnarly. And then the other list was Mother Talzin, but again no eras. So he brought DTE and Elite Squad Troopers the stormtrooper synergy, and also I mean DT is just good, but being able to use the elite squad troopers like where normally it wouldn't be possible at all, like
Right.
it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And oh, and then my list, I wanted all lightsabers, Todd. That's what I always want is all lightsabers. So I decided to kind of build around Shin Hati a little bit and make this aggressive list because she has the ability to move and make the attack whenever a force user makes a combat action. So my squads are all force users. So I have Darth Vader Jedi Hunter with Shin Hati, Padawan learners. So that's that list. So all completely wrong in terms of eras. And then the other side was Maul, Ezra, and Fifth Brother. So it was like Maul and Vader's secret apprentices. And then the
Right.
secret apprentices had apprentices.
All right. All right. I mean, it sounds like a fun list to play for sure. How did it end up going with like playing like the no eras? Did it feel like you were playing something that was like intentionally broken or anything like that because you were able to sit there and do that?
That was the thing. It didn't feel like now, of course, I mean maybe Matt was playing a little more optimized stuff but it's also just Matt.
Right.
Playing against Matt, it's like watching somebody paint, I swear, because he just gets in this zone uh and he just makes everything tick. But like it didn't feel crazy. Uh Ezra getting to be with Maul was just fun. Like that was just an enjoyable thing. Shin Hati would have been around during the Galactic Civil War, probably scooped up by Balin already, but you know, maybe she was doing some things. Padawan learners could be, you know, Sithawans if you want them to be. And uh and fifth brother, we don't actually know how the last of the Inquisitors end. Like that's just a blank spot in the lore. Like we know that they disappear basically by killing each other off somewhere between Rebels and A New Hope, but I don't know. Yeah, so it didn't even feel like a what if, because same with like all the Dathomirians and then the Empire. Like you just put it in your head. You're like, the Night Sisters revived themselves after, you know, Grievous did grievous things to them. So
Right. I mean, and I feel like Matt's list was like if you were to just switch the secondaries and supports and who they were under, it would have been a legal list anyway for the most part, right?
yeah, it was almost like it was almost legal. Like if he had swapped them, I
Yeah, swap the
think.
primaries, it would have been pretty close to legal.
Yeah, I think it's the elite squad trooper, because I haven't played those guys. They're only Rise of Empire, right?
I thought they
Like so,
got
I think.
didn't they get updated to have to be in that era now? I couldn't remember.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. They updated them to Galactic Civil War. So wait a minute. So wouldn't that just, if he had just swapped them, wouldn't it have been?
That's kind of
That's
what I'm
silly.
saying is like I don't think
Oh,
like
oh, no, no, no. Because remember, Morgan is only New Republic. That's
oh
that's
okay,
what breaks it all.
got it. Okay,
Which that's
either
another one. Like if we're going to make eras matter, like I'm kind of piggybacking on Chris's argument, because like I said, when I started listening to that episode with Chris, I was not convinced. I was like, oh, that will break the game. That would be too bro. I was just thinking of a balancing aspect, that the eras are one of the way they can balance units, right? But by the end, I was like, would it really be that broken? And I don't think so. I really don't,
yeah.
Todd.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of sold on that. Like at first, I was like, I felt like it was something that kind of balanced everything too. But it's like, no, the tags in themselves kind of balance it more than eras do anyway. I think eras are more just lore, like I was saying in that episode. I think that eras have more become like the flavor tags of everything. You know, it's like eras seem to be more like the 501st tag on Anakin. Like it doesn't mean
No,
much
right,
anymore.
right. It's just flavor. And and to talk about more about like how the game actually played out. So we played on sabotage, and I mean, struggle one, like it was just good back and forth. Like I was able to score 4 points once, then Matt scored 4 points. Then we were kind of doing the flip flop for a little bit, but then towards the end of the struggle, Matt was able to score four and then keep me from getting back him away from scoring four, because it would be like he'd score four, then I would take an objective, but then he would take the objective back from me, or he would take a different objective. Like, of course, he was doing a great job with his movement, and because he got Morgan all the way into my back line. Like Morgan was causing me grief. At one point, I had to have Maul and the Padawans all stuck on my back point, just because I was dealing with like Morgan, and he never really got a good chance to use manipulating hand, but manipulating hand could have been a factor. And so he just tied me up with Morgan in my deployment, and um was able, like, he was able to use the coordinated fire expose from the Night Sisters. And oh, Matt, I'm grumpy about one thing. he wounded Shin Hati before I ever got to use her ability. And even though you have so much force with that list, right? Because it's 4-3, it's seven force. I never felt like I could spend a force on her, move her and make a 5 die. I never got
Right.
to do it. And that was the whole reason I put the list together, is that I wanted to use her ability. But she got wounded because I think she was like she was a very early activation on my left side of the board. And so she ran up, and then the Night Sisters went and bullied her to death.
As they should.
Grumble.
As they should.
But it was a fun game. Like there was also one moment where this is what I mean. Playing with Matt is like watching somebody work on a piece of artwork. I was looking
I
at
thought
my
you were
turn.
saying like playing with him was like watching paint dry. I thought that's what you were trying to say. I'm like, man, that's rude, but okay. I like the
What?
other analogy better.
What? That's not. What? No, Todd. Shush. No, because at one point I was doing my Shatterpoint turn, looking at all the angles and what I could do, and I eventually settled on. I knew if I moved Vader forward, he could attack and take. I think it was Savage, because Savage was a beast. He took down. Was it Maul? I think it was Maul. He took down somebody. I can't remember, but like one attack, just fully took them down. I think it was Maul, but I can't remember if that was later in the game with Morgan. But Savage did work this game. I had to send Vader up after him, knock him off of. I had to do like a bunch of shoves to get him off of the center objective, and then that was Vader's Fury. Then I had to move forward past the objective to land near Ezra to get Ezra to jump onto Matt, one of Matt's back points with helpful hand to do that. Now, mind you, I'm figuring all of that out in my head because it's a Shatterpoint turn and I'm looking at my other options, and I go, I think I'm gonna go with Vader. And then Matt just quick fires off that entire sequence of events that I just described to you. Just quick fire. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're gonna move up. You're gonna attack Savage, knock him off the point. Then you're gonna move again, and Ezra's gonna go over here and take that point from me." And I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, Matt.
I did feel smart until just now. Thanks, Matt. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and that's probably the first time frickin' helpful hand on Ezra has ever worked for me. I have never gotten that ability to do much of anything with Ezra, and I did it with Vader.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense. Playing with him with Vader and Maul is the right place for Ezra. He needs to be played in that particular, because he should have always turned to the dark side. We know that when he had that Sith holocron from the start, he should have just embraced all of that instead of turning away from it. Whatever, man. So like it just goes to show you his rightful place was there, following the Sith lords and interacting with the dark side in a more meaningful way.
Todd, are you trying to get me salty in preparation for our next topic? Come on now. What's going on here?
I would never do that intentionally, Aubrey. I would never just try and pour the salt out all over the place. No, that's not me at all.
Yeah. So what I am happy about is two things. First off, I really like this no era thing, and I definitely think we should run a whole event like on a Saturday and do this no era thing, because it was a lot of fun. It made list building. Okay, I'm not a big enjoyer of list building. I was never that in Magic. I was not a brewer. I just would net deck. I'd be like, okay, what do I want to play? Here's a list. Cool. I'm gonna move on with my life. But this actually got me thinking about. I was like, okay, is there a way I could play legally all lightsabers? Because I haven't thought about that in a minute. And I was able to go, oh, not only can I do that, but I can actually play with Ezra, because I was looking at the eras and everything, and I'm like, you can play Vader, Reva, Padawan learners, and then Grand Inquisitor, Ezra, and like Fifth Brother, or what, flavor to taste, Fourth Sister, but I think Fifth Brother is probably the better option. But now, is that a super competitive list? I don't know. Would I have fun playing it? Absolutely.
I mean, and that's again, I think that's kind of where we have to remind ourselves where we're supposed to be with Shatterpoint for sure. Is that because it's not a game that's going to get the support to make it a competitive, a fully competitive game. I don't think. I mean, I would love to be proven wrong there, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So, I mean, it's like, I think fun events like this is really kind of what we're going to have to do going forward, at least, until we weather this storm and see what happens with like Asmodee as a whole, and if they're willing to sit there and allow AMG to reinvest into Shatterpoint down the road. But yeah, so I think this is kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be fun to do things like this. I mean, I think we have to find the fun events. I mean, like, and I think like doing things like the team event that we had was like another way to do that. The team event seemed to go over really well for all the people that showed up and played in it. So I think that's kind of where we have to be with a lot of this, is finding those niche places to have those fun events, to kind of supplement the competitive aspect of everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I want to do this again. It was fun, like trying to come up with, because we just of course did just two squads because it was only going to be like a couple rounds anyway. But
Mm-hmm.
it would be interesting to see what premier lists would look like when you're given this much latitude. And I know, because we kind of talked about it after the event. Like, we were talking a little bit about community and fun events, and then this, and I can't remember if it was Matt or Jared. One of them was talking about how the original intent AMG had was for this to feel very like Saturday morning cartoony, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, when I'm teaching new players, the thing I ask is, did you like any of the Star Wars TV shows, Clone Wars, Rebels, Mandalorian, any of that?
Right.
Did you like that? This feels like playing an episode of one of those shows. Like, that's
Right.
that's how I sell the game. And so the whole Saturday morning cartoon thing, like, I mean, Marvel has its what if. Star Wars, I have it down here, has infinities. Like, if you can already legally bring uh what would be the weirdest thing? Obi-Wan Kenobi from the Clone Wars with Balin Skull from the New Republic Ahsoka show. Like, I
Right.
already can legally run those two lists. That's already kind of breaking the concept of, or well, bending the concept of eras already. Just
Right.
just take it one step further. You
Yeah. Just rip the
can
Band-Aid
go
off.
nuts.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that's kind of the case with it all, is that it's especially with the conversation I had with Chris like what a couple weeks ago, is that it really doesn't seem to be something that needs to be restricted at this point in time. I don't know if it'll really go away. I mean, based off of the way that this game was created and everything along those lines, but it makes sense in my mind to kind of to play without. And I mean, that's on my radar for sure, of maybe like once like summer ends and kids are back in school, being able to run like a Saturday event where it's no restrictions at Gamers Guild or something like that is definitely on my radar of things to do. I just trying to get being a parent and getting through summer is always fun, especially when my daughter's about to turn 16, so getting her to and from work and still having to do all those fun things has been outstanding.
Wow, I love that thumbs up. Those of you just listening. Oh boy, Todd looks outstandingly happy.
Well, like I said, teenage daughters, man, they can be taxing. I'm sure like there's some people out there that will definitely understand. So but it's yeah, definitely but yeah, definitely on my radar to sit there and get that done. So going, I mean, do you have anything else you wanted to kind of touch on the no era stuff before we kind of jump into the other thing we were going to talk about?
Well, I mean, I guess I have a question for you, Todd. I of
Sure.
course want to play with all lightsabers and Force users, and I know my brand. What would you play if you were going to put together a no era list? Like,
So
just one
yeah,
strike
I mean,
team.
I was kind of looking at like what I would want to do, because like I'm really into the bounty hunters, like, and Mandalorian. It's like so I kind of wanted to build around him, but the thing is like most of the bounty hunters and Mandalorians for the most part all kind of have like already have like synergies or like similar eras, so it's like really hard for me to kind of break out of that. So that's one of the things where it's like I'm gonna have to play around with it a little bit more, because it's like it's not like I'm already like the stuff that I enjoy playing is like already meeting that threshold of eras. So it's like I don't know. I think I'd have to play around with it a little bit more. I do like again, I think that probably what Matt was playing with Morgan, being able to put Morgan with uh into something more empire focused, like outside of her normal, like her restriction, I think is probably about the only place that I would probably go to, is like the Morgan or Balin, doing something different with them. Because I think that was part of it, was like maybe Balin with his mercenary tags, being able to bring him into something there. I think was part of something I was looking at one point, because like you could do like Balin with bounty hunters and, oh gosh, what was it? Why am I drawing a blank on his name all of a sudden? Grief Karga. So like basically kind of like doing something with him there, but I think that's still in the same era. So it's like it doesn't really matter. It's like the whole
That's
problem
funny.
with it.
I got one. I got one toy for you that would be opened up for your bounty hunting. You would get
Yep.
to use Jango Fett
Yeah,
because
that
he's
is
pretty
true.
restricted.
He is, and I think that was like one of the only things that like made it where it's like, oh yeah, I can throw Fed in there, like and like you could do Django and Boba together, which you can do already, but it's like he's a little more available, and I think that was probably something I was gonna look at doing. But like I said, there's not a whole lot of, it's very wide open to begin with, and like the thing, like the mercenary tag and stuff like that, because that's where I was like focusing at. But I'm like, yeah, because I was playing around with them, just like there's all the stuff I want to do is pretty much legal already. So there's not much that's not legal there. So I was like, I'll have to play around with it some more to find something that like I might find interesting to play that is outside of the eras. Because I mean, like the biggest thing I think for most people is like for you, like you like playing Rebels and Rebel stuff, and it's like, well, their eras are very restrictive, especially like all the Spectres and the Leia box. There's a lot of restrictive stuff there, and maybe an Empire, but it's like, it's not that difficult. Like it's I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to play around with it some more.
Well, but that also brings me to kind of another thought I was having is it also doesn't necessarily have to be completely warping the game. Like I had Maul and Ezra, like I had everybody from Clone Wars all the way up to New Republic, so I was really messing around with it. But one of the lists that Jared posted was just Spectres, like a standard Spectres list with like Rebel Commandos and Chopper, if I remember right. But then one of the primaries was the Clone Wars Ahsoka instead of Fulcrum Ahsoka, because obviously that opens up, like you get the extra expertise you get, which is really good with somebody like Ezra, where you're always like, please give me two expertise, please give me two expertise, I need his dash, or else this is gonna go badly for me. Um, and so I mean, like that looked like it was a fun list, and that was basically a legal list with one illegal model in it.
Right. And I think that's kind of what you're like, where you're probably gonna have to go with it, is stuff like that. I mean, and especially if you're going to be playing in an event, I think that's probably going to be where it really ends up, is doing some stuff like that. So I know, yeah, Jared also had the one where, I mean, this one kind of looked interesting, where he was playing Hunter with, oh gosh, why can I never remember his name? It was Hunter, the 501st. What's his name the from the Lando box? I can never remember his name, because
Oh,
I
Lobot.
hate yeah, because I hate that action figure. Um, so it was
I'm like, how
Hunter
did you
Lobot.
forget your favorite
I
toy, Todd?
Right, yeah, exactly. No, but Hunter Lobot 501st with Mando, Wrecker, and Omega, and Techo. So that looks interesting. I mean, he's posted some pretty interesting lists that might be, fun to play, and go from there. But yeah, he did also have that Jedi No More one. But it wasn't just Spectres, because I think he had the not rebel commandos, the ones that come in, not in the Han box, I believe it was. No,
Oh,
in the
oh, that's right. It wasn't
Pathfinders. Yeah, the
Commandos.
rebel
It was
Pathfinders.
Pathfinders.
So yeah, I mean, he had rebel Pathfinders with Ezra, which is cool. I mean, that's something, something a little different to sit there. But then it was just a Kanan with Chopper and Sabine, which is, can't go wrong there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The one other teaser, and I don't remember if this was Matt was talking about Chris's idea or somebody or Jared. Sorry, guys, it all gets muddled in my head. Somebody was saying something in our conversation, and what have you played? Iden Empire, like a stock Iden strike team, but with Luminara as the other primary. Because you'd be wounding left, right, and center, and getting all of the Luminara triggers, and
Hmm.
she's pretty agnostic, so you could just run all more Imperials, and then
Right.
then she'll be doing just like Rebels. She'll be helping the Empire even after death.
I mean, Luminara makes sense. I mean, there's like people already were playing Luminara with Empire list to begin with. Like it's just now you are able to go full ham on the Empire side of it if you wanted to do so, which is, I mean, that I can see that being kind of fun too. I could probably see like if I was doing a premiere list, that would be the other side of my premiere would be like something like that, like a full just the Iden box, and then you take like Luminara with DTE and flavor to taste whatever support you want there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I can see
yeah,
it.
that seems like it would be pretty interesting. Pretty
Yeah,
interesting. So
yeah, I can see that. I can see that. All right, so I know, like, so for me, this came up because I played an MCP game this weekend or this week, and the player that I played against was fairly new, and I'm so used to playing with like our normal community that I kind of like, and I started playing a new roster. I've done my 50 games with A4, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going on to the next letter. The next alphabetically, the next thing is Asgard. Well, Asgard is significantly better than A Force, so I went and played the game, and he happened to be a new player. To the point where he didn't know there was some things that he just didn't realize with the missions that we picked and everything along those lines. Um, and I'm so used to being able to kind of like shorthand things a little bit. Like there was like the characters like for in MCP, your characters can move short, medium, or long, and long is like 7.5, 8, almost 8 inches, I think. And like I had a character, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna move him. He moves long. I'd just kind of demonstrate that I'm going to do it and don't like put the movement tool down on the board because I'm only moving the character like 3 inches. And there was like, and again in MCP, like you do sometimes, just like with Shatterpoint, man, you can bump into terrain and things get moved out of the way and things along those lines. So I wouldn't say that I was playing sloppy, but I wasn't playing my cleanest because this was a casual league game. This league, we're not paying anything to play in it, or anything along those lines. So I would say I was playing loose. Um, but it turned out like, and especially if anyone who's played MCP, they know that that game can be very spiky. And unfortunately, there was a turn that I had with a character where he can do an area attack, and he had 4 of his 5 characters within the range of this particular character, and I was able to do that attack
oh
twice.
oh
Um,
no.
and it was and like so basically on your attacks in MCP you have 3 different types. You have energy, you have physical, or you have mystic. Well, this is a mystic attack, and one of the characters that I was attacking, their mystic defense was only 1 defensive dice. So like so I
Oh.
was able to attack 4 characters twice with like 7 attack dice, and like it was pretty, and I had a character close by that would allow me to re-roll at 1 dice. um so during that turn I removed 2 of his models from the board and dazed another model, and then the very next activation after that I killed off one of the third model that he had. So basically within 2 activations of characters I removed 3 of his characters from the board and dazed another one, pretty much ending the game, which was,
Whoa.
again, it's brutal, and I didn't intend to be like that much of a jerk when that happened. And it wasn't like intentional. It wasn't like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go and just destroy this guy. It just worked out that way. I mean, to be fair, the game started out the score bit in after the first round was like 5 points to 1 point in his favor. So it was like, no, I had to do some catching up to sit there and kind of make it a, and things along those lines. So it was just one of these things where I'm like, but he was very upset about it. I found out after the fact, like of like just kind of how the entire game went, and it made me start thinking about how we interact with the game, the social interactions, it made me wonder if I lost sight of that during this interaction on this particular game, and how we go back and don't kind of try to prevent that from happening. This particular player was very quiet, like he didn't really talk much, so it's like the things that probably upset him, he didn't really vocalize them, in my opinion, as loud as he should have. But it's like one of those things where made me think, should I have questioned that more? Because it was like something that I wouldn't have questioned if I was playing against, like, say, Izzy or one of the other players one of the other local players. But since this was someone who I've never played before, I don't know if it was just one of those things where he just was unhappy about it. So it was like just interesting to kind of think about, how that social contract that we have when playing these games, and how do we navigate that on a case by case basis. I don't know. I mean, what do you think about kind of all the word salad that I just vomited at you?
Well, I mean, it makes me think of my Trench Crusade game because I got to experience for the first time in my tabletop wargaming life getting tabled. All
Right.
of my models died. All of them
Right.
died in the game, and admittedly, this was like, for context, uh the campaign mode of Trench Crusade has a lot of story stuff, and there's different scenarios, and like this round, half of your warband is like off on a mission, and you get like caught by surprise because there's an attacker and defender mode in this scenario.
Mhm.
I was the defender because I fielded fewer models than my opponent. That's just they've written the rules. And so I was only allowed to bring half of my normal forces, basically. Like I was only allowed to bring 5 out of my 7 models because one of my models died in the last round and I didn't replace it. So um because I knew going in I was gonna be in a like short, and I could use this post round to like refill my warband. But like, Todd, that wasn't fun, and the scenario was set up with like the defender had
Yeah.
like had a bunch of mines that they had to navigate through, but I just happened to be playing against a faction that has he had not one on his list. He had not one but 2 combat engineers that negate mines and diffuse mines. So yes, did the mine slow him down a little bit? Absolutely, because he had to be careful. And did he have um some setbacks? Sure. But also, in Trench Crusade, you really want to hit like 7 or greater is the good results on most of your rolls. My mines, the only mine that took out a model was when he was already winning. There's achievements called glorious deeds that get you glory points. You can buy stuff, so it's really important to try and get them. Yeah, by the way, I didn't get any glorious deeds because I just got stomped into the ground. He purposely ran a model into a mine to blow it up because there was an achievement for having a model survive 2 mine blasts, and then his
Oh,
model
okay.
died. So one of the models I took out, he killed it himself. He did it to himself. Like, he did it, and it made sense because all of my rolls on those mines were 6 and under. Every time a mine went off, if it wasn't getting diffused or negated, it was 6 and under. So like, one blood marker, one blood marker, one blood marker. All of my success rolls, basically, I all of my dashes, because whenever you do a second movement in a turn, it's a risky roll. It'll end your turn. I will admit, all of those always, more or less, always succeeded. But every time I tried to fight somebody, fail, 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 fail. watch my whole watch my whole warband. Like literally, I was down to one little foot soldier, and I literally ran him into the corner of the map and watched 7 models to just encircle him like an anaconda and then just murder him. Like it was.
Sounds brutal. Sounds really
it
brutal.
was brutal. It was brutal. And you know what? Like the scenario, we knew the defender was going to be a little uphill. We all got to read it. We all got to see. Like if I really wanted to, I could have manipulated events to maybe not be the defender. But I went in knowing that I was going to be on the uphill side. So like I was able to prepare myself mentally for the starters. But two, like that felt like I could have blamed Z for writing this scenario because I think this is because some of them are pre-made by the company, like they have mission layouts, and some Z has been making. I don't even know. I don't bother to look this up. I don't care. I'm
blame
just learning
Z.
the
Just
game.
blame Z. Just blame Z.
Just
I think
blame-
that's fair.
just blame-
That's fair. Just blame him 100%.
Whatever. He picked what regardless. He picked the scenario. I could have been.
Oh
mad
yeah,
at
so
Z,
100%
been like,
we blame
why?
him. Yeah, it's just blame
Why?
him. It's like he's the one who was there manipulating your dice so that you would fail at every turn. So I blame Z 100%. Yeah.
Right? You see where I'm getting with it. Like,
Yeah.
never mind the fact it's 4th of July. I know Z's barbecuing, and I had to call him like 2 times to ask him about post game finishing stuff. Because like the app wasn't working right, and like we weren't getting it connect. Like I'll tell you this, entire sidebar from our actual conversation of saltiness. I really like Trench Crusade. Yes, it's me. We're derailed, Todd. Come on. I really like Trench Crusade the game. I really like the campaign and the lore and the story and all of this stuff. But dear sweet baby Yoda, you have to do so much clicking and connecting of pieces in their app on their website to like report a game that it takes like 15-20 minutes to do this after the time it's done. And like what we did wrong is because you have to first report the game and then you have to like link it to the campaign so that it populates everything in the campaign, and we did it in the wrong order. We pushed one button before pushing the other button, and then that broke it and we had to start over. That is the one complaint I have is like, make this easier, make it make sense. Why do I have to do this twice in the app for the campaign to work? But that's a tiny minor quibble. My point is, I could have been really salty at my opponent at Zach I was playing against. Like but he did his homework. He knew what all my models did, because usually it's like, hey, like here are my equipment. This is how my particular models are kitted out. And he was like, oh no, I went on the app. I read all of your squad. I'm like, oh, okay. Like he's prepared. He's prepared.
He was ready to kick your teeth in.
Yeah. No, I was like, okay, ooh, all right. And then I could have been mad about his combat engineers. How come he has stuff that diffuses my? Because like one of my models died before ever attacking, because anyone could set off the mines, and I'm the one who set up the mines. And I realized after I set them up that my more mobile character is like a big lion homunculus thing. I couldn't run him into melee and attack the guys that were already attacking my leader. Like round 1, which is also supposed to be difficult to do, but nope, they got through the mines, so they got to fight my leader. And I didn't want to blow up a mine because I'm like, the mines already did stop them. If I run my lion into the mine, it's gonna blow him up and end his turn. So I went around, but that meant I didn't get to attack. And then he died. I could have been salty about that, even though who set up the mines, Todd? Remind me who set up the mines?
No, it's your fault. 100% your fault. And you know what? No, it's not your fault. It's Z's fault still. It's Z's fault because he didn't tell you how to set up the mines properly from the start. I'm blaming Z.
Sure. And like I'm also thinking about like the thing you said, like in one of my previous games. My cool assassin guy suffered an injury. He's supposed to be dual wielding daggers. I put him up on a tower thinking he was safe. He got blown off of the map lost an arm, so now he can't dual wield his daggers anymore, which is the one thing he's supposed to be good at. Like, he's supposed to be like melee only and run in and stab, 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 and now he can only half stab. Like, do we see where I'm going with this? Like, these are all things that could have made me salty, could have made me sour. Like, I'm a new player. I'm still learning this game. I don't know what I'm doing. And so far, I am what is it? We're in round 3. Yeah, round 3. And if you count my learn to play game with Z, I think I'm like 1-4 right now in my Trench Crusade games.
So
Like
so I wonder, I guess, I mean, like, do you feel that, like, your opponent has a responsibility to ensure that they're playing to a level that's not going to trigger your saltiness, or to not put you in that position? Because it's like, I think there's this delicate balance of, like, you have new players, you want to sit there and grow your community, so you don't want to sit there and have them have a bad experience, but at the same time you're playing a miniatures game, someone's going to lose, and if there's someone who's competitive, they're just going to lose. Like, they're just going to, if they don't win, they're just going to be salty anyway. I mean, so it's like, it's one of those where's the balance in that? I mean, do you think that there's, your opponents didn't do, like, that social contract piece of it, were like not fulfilling that piece of what we consider the social contract of playing the game together? Or do you think it was just, no, it's just part of playing the game, sometimes you just have to deal with it?
I mean, I hate to take the non-answer of it's both, but I mean, it really is. That is the correct answer. So I mean, like, for example, in our game, one of the things about Trench Crusade, if you haven't been paying attention to what I'm saying, is that characters get blood markers and they let you influence dice rolls. And so, like, there was a couple of times where I was going in the tank because you really want to save up the blood markers if you can to get to 3, because if you down a model and then you spend 3 blood markers, you get a much better attack. But you can spend them on basically on any it's you can make the success roll of a model worse, or you can make an injury roll against that model worse, are the two things that blood markers let you do. But so that means, like, if you have a blood marker and you're activating that model that has the blood marker and you're about to roll a success roll, I can use that blood marker on any success roll. And there would be a couple of times where, like, my opponent would pick up his dice and he would just be ready to go. And I'd be like, wait, I'm like, hang on, because I can affect the roll. And so, and now, was he intentionally trying to roll the dice fast? No, but could I have thought that?
Yeah.
Maybe. So it comes down to, like, I needed to make sure I was communicating. Yeah, needed to make sure that I was communicating with him and going, no, I'm thinking about doing the blood markers. And it did get to the point where he did. Like, again, we're all new at this game. Like, I don't know how many games he has, and I didn't ask him or anything, but this league just started. Like, we haven't played that many games, so we're all getting used to it. Like, so by the end of the game, he was like, "Are you going to use blood markers?" And I was like, "Are you going to use blood markers?" So like, you learn to communicate. Like, you have to communicate in these games. Man, going back to Matt was just talking about this on Friday too. He was like, "Do you know what separates the best players in Shatterpoint from the good players in Shatterpoint?" And he was like, it's pretty much just communication. Like, you communicate your intentions very clearly. And Matt didn't go into this much detail. He was making a point about something entirely unrelated to our conversation. But I'm stealing his point and bringing it back around to these games require you to have clear intentions and to be able to execute those intentions, and that's on you to communicate what's going on and what your intention. Like, for example, it's not like you just picked up your model and went, yeah, I'm moving him. You had the long range tool and you're like, yeah, I'm only moving like 3 inches. So, like, in my mind, it was that shows clear intention that you understood that
Yeah.
you have a movement tool, but you're like, I am doing within the realms of like, there's no reason for me to be that precise because I'm allowed to move any length of this. So you communicated well. And so somebody could have a different perception of that, but objectively, the most important thing I think that to help like bridge this idea of who's responsible for what is
Hmm.
communication. And we're talking about a new player, so maybe he didn't like, I don't know his background or experience
Yeah.
with gaming, but this isn't like magic where you have to be careful what you communicate because there's a lot of hidden information, right? In
Right.
magic with your hand. Like that's the opposite with tabletop wargaming, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's little gotcha moments, but for the most part it's we both know what our models can do more or less, like the basic
Right.
act, right? The basic actions are the same for everyone.
Right.
So you need to talk about it. Does,
Well,
does,
yeah.
does
I
that
mean,
make does that make sense?
it does. It does. I mean, like I said, you kind of hit on a point where he's a new player because like there was one of the things that kind of got me was so we're playing one of these missions and they're called pay to flips. Where basically like you pay a power and you roll a certain amount of dice to sit there and try and get the point that's to be your point, your secured objective over theirs. Well, in this particular scenario, you needed to roll your energy defense dice. Well, out of the 5 models that he brought, 2 of them only had 1 energy defense dice when they were so like if he were to go and get to one of those points, if no one was on the point, he would roll 1 dice, and as long as he got 1 success, he got it. Well, if I had a model there and he was going to try and flip it to like take it away from me, he would have to have 2 successes. He couldn't even get 2 successes because he was only rolling 1 dice anyway. So it was like one of those things where it's like he didn't understand that like from the time that we started playing the game. You know, it was one of those where it's like and it was the worst part about it was like I think those were my missions. He was able to choose between that one and another one. So there was like a lot of things with that game where it's like he just didn't have the knowledge, and it's like I guess, but I didn't even realize that he didn't have an understanding of what that was because I'm like, oh no, you're only rolling 1 dice, and he's like, and he didn't even realize that until like the third round of the game, like when he like because I wasn't I actively paying attention to like him like when he was rolling the dice. I don't know if he was rolling too many dice in the beginning of the game or something along those lines, so he might have like not been able to get points, but it was one of those where it's like, oh wait, you chose this mission and then chose characters that were actively bad on this particular mission, and it was one of those where it's like I really wish after the fact I would have been able to have a conversation with him, but he was pretty upset about I think how the game went and everything along those lines. So it was just interesting. Like um, I had a lot of thoughts about it because like all this came to light last night about how how he was pretty upset about the how the entire game went. And it was like made me wonder is like was it me? Did I do something during the course of the game that I could have done better? And things along those lines. And it's made me wonder like actively like in the moment of what what is our obligation as a player in an event to kind of adjust our play to our opponents and their particular skill level and stuff like that. And it's like, did I not adjust to him appropriately? Especially like I said, in retrospect, where I'm like looking at it like, man, you didn't even understand the mission we were playing, and you chose very poorly for the mission we were playing. When you didn't, because I mean, most people that play the game would not choose those 2 characters simply because it's like, man, if I want to go and take that objective, I have to hit. I think there's like 4 successes because yeah, you could get four. So you have a 50% chance of getting that on 1 dice. So it's like, and you're only rolling 1 dice. So it's like you have a 50-50 with 2 characters to sit there and try and take a point. So it's like one of those where it's like, I don't know, like should I have actively seen that earlier, and should I have adjusted my like how I was playing based off of that, but it was interesting for sure. Like just a lot of thoughts. I don't know.
Well, so I mean, this also just comes down to did you know did you have all the complete information or not? This actually brings me back to my work. So no. So the woman who was upset at me. This is why she was upset. I wasn't even the one helping her. I was helping another customer, and she was overstimulated. And mind you, I found all of this out in the opposite order of what I'm about to describe to you, right? So she started yelling at us long before I ever figured out what was going on. She asked if she could use our meeting room because she was overstimulated. Because admittedly, we just had like 60 people come out of a program, like a bunch of. Because I did like a midsummer party with a bunch of arts and crafts for the kids, and about 60 people total showed up, and they had all just exited the meeting room, right? So.
Right.
Like, oh yeah, I saw the look on your face. I had to call for backup. My boss was helping a little bit, and I had 2 teen volunteers, fortunately, that were there. But I had given them like work to do in the back, and I was like, never mind. Nope, come. I need crowd control. I need crowd control over here. Come back.
Right.
Because I was expecting like 20 or 30, so 60 showed up. But so this woman was upset by the sound and overstimulated. I mean, she's in a public place, but whatever. But all I got asked, and the only information I had when I was asked this, was, hey, this woman wants to reserve the meeting room. Can you do that? Well, and agree with this or not agree with this, the policy is no. We don't do same-day reservations of our meeting room. We have study rooms at some of the other libraries where you can just walk in and use them, but the meeting room, they want you to plan the use of that room in advance. That's all I get asked. I don't know anything about the woman, like the trouble she's having or any of these things. At this moment, I just was asked, can you reserve the meeting room right now? Well, the answer to that question is no. No, you can't. So I answer the question and I go back to helping the customer, but this woman gets upset, so I'm having to intervene again. And then I learn all of this information. But the problem is I was training a new employee right there. And between you, me, and the wall, if I had known that she was neurodivergent,
and the rest of the internet that's like listening to this, yes.
Right.
You said between you, me, and the wall. It's like, well, you're saying it on a podcast, so yes. You, me, and the wall, the rest of the internet.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. If I had known all these things, I probably would have said, well, no, you can't reserve the room, but, just go in there for a few minutes and
right.
Chill out. Never mind the fact that she probably had a car outside. She could have just gone out to her car. But, there were plenty of other options. But instead, she asked all these other questions. Instead of saying that in that moment, then she's like, well, do you have headphones or noise-canceling headphones? She kept asking me for stuff I didn't have.
Right.
So she kept getting no's until she finally explained her problem. But at that point, she's now yelling at all of us. And I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, So in that moment, would I have done things differently with all of the information? Yeah, probably. Unless she started yelling at me immediately, then maybe not. But by the time it escalated, and now it's an issue of, hey, you're not allowed to abuse the staff of the building. This isn't going to go the way. This isn't going to go the way you want.
Right.
It would have been different with more information. And had you known that you were dealing with someone who was new enough that they didn't recognize key mechanics in the mission and what they were bringing, like, Todd, would you have let him do that if you had all that complete information? Would you have just sat there and been like, I'm gonna stomp on this newbie and crush him into the dirt?
That's my style. That's my style. I'm always like, I want to hurt somebody's feelings as much as possible. Anybody that knows me knows that's true.
Right. So this is really just and I'm not saying really that it's anybody's fault. Like, he didn't have the experience clearly to know really what was going on. You didn't have the information that he lacked that experience to know what was going on. It all kind of fell apart in the middle. Like, this happened. I told you about my Trench Crusade game last week, 2 weeks ago, I think, or whenever. The one where he needed to melee boxes, but none of his guys had melee weapons equipped, so he can't do a melee attack. And I didn't figure that out till we were neck deep in our in
Right.
in our mission. Like I didn't look at like what exactly he had equipped because the basic weapons don't really have any like special abilities or anything. They just add to a number. Like you get a +1 to your melee dice or whatever it is. So I just glanced at him at his models really quickly, saw there was a melee number, and I'm like, okay, yeah, all right, move on. Like I didn't realize he didn't have a weapon equipped to make the melee attack happen. Otherwise, I would have been like,
Right.
wait. We need to fix this. But I can't stop and fix it when we're like 60% of the way into a game. Like,
Right. Yeah. No, it's like I said, it's interesting. I mean, it was one of those where, in retrospect, it's like, sometimes like you maybe do a little more digging into who my opponents are. I mean, like I said, like, I think part of the problem is like I've been playing so many games with people that are experienced players that I didn't think about that. Like over the course of like like all the games that I played with A Force, I don't think I played anybody that had less than a year's worth of experience playing MCP. And this guy's been playing for like 3 months, so I'm like, okay, he's probably got a good grasp of the game at this point in time. So, but like I said, I mean, it's MCP is one of those games where you can easily you can easily table somebody, and it never feels good to sit there and just watch all of your models just slowly coming off of the board. Or in this case, like I said, in the course of 2 model activations, I removed 3 of his models. It was really rough. It's like one of those where it's like, oh, okay, you just lost 6 attacks basically. Oh, actually 8 attacks that round, like by me playing. So it's like, it's, I get it. It was not it was. I would probably be a little salty too at this end of the end of the day about it. It's not fun to watch all your models get just decimated. But like I said, I think that's part of miniature gaming at the same point too. Like it's one of the nice things that we don't experience in Shatterpoint. I mean, that's like for me, it's like always one of the big selling points I always had for the game was, when you sit there and play a game and all your models get removed, well, what doesn't happen here is that. So I think that's one of the nice balance to playing Shatterpoint from like other games that I've played, is that some of those feel bad moments don't happen. But again, there's a lot of players that we have that, not a lot of players, but there's a lot of instances where like you have, you go to, you have a key attack or something like that. You go to roll your dice. It's like, all right, this is my moment. If I sit there and get this dice roll, it's going to sit there and win the game. And you roll like, and you're like exposed or something like that, and you ended up like just not being, or just you're disarmed, and all you did was roll blanks and expertise. It's like,
yep. Yeah.
So it's,
and I was just gonna like what this comes down to, man. We're running the gauntlet here. It comes down to social emotional understanding too, because yes, you could feel salty. That you're feeling, you do not have to sit there and be smiling and grinning and bearing down as you take it, as your models all leave the table and you figure out like I might have just been better off in my Trench Crusade game if I had brought 2 models, because I in this game I have this really big bull guy I've talked about, right? And he has this flame cannon that just shoots out. And there was a moment, now admittedly my opponent knew I didn't have that, so maybe he would have moved his models differently, but there was a moment where I could have hit like 6 of his models at once if I had just brought that model. But the point system was such, it wasn't like number of models in your warband, it was points adding up to 450. And that bull by himself is like 220
so it's
points.
like half your points, yeah.
Yeah, so if I had brought him and like say my captain or that would only be 2 models, or if I didn't bring my captain but my captain's like my best unit, better than even the bull. So I brought my captain and a bunch of small guys so that I could spread out and take the trench sections. Because my victory condition was keeping models in these three trench sections. If I only brought two models, I wouldn't even be able to contest the three sections I was supposed to. So like basically you can have a feeling, but then how you choose to react to that feeling and what you tell yourself about that feeling is what determines where you go from there. Because like you didn't intend to just stomp this new player into the ground. Now the impact might be that he feels like you did, but then,
Oh yeah.
well, frankly, that's more communication. Then that's where you go, well, hey, I understand that I hurt your feelings because of these things. This is what my intent was. Like you just there's more communication. Yay, we all have to communicate together.
Right. And I think that's like at the end of the day, like that's kind of the whole, I guess the bigger point of the entire thing was that like and I guess it's one of those things like as a player, did I miss something that I shouldn't have missed? Was there something? And I think that's, as the social, but again, like, like to kind of to your point of like your interaction at the library, we're a bunch of nerds, man. Most of us are pretty neurodivergent or socially awkward in one way or the other. I mean, that's just kind of like the root of our entire community is like there's just not we're not the best at communicating like a lot of the people in here in the gaming space. There is that awkwardness that goes along with being who we are. I mean, I'm guilty of it in a lot of ways, and I think like most of us that are at least able to like outwardly admit it will say, yeah, we're kind of weirdos at times. So I mean, I know I am. So I think that's kind of like I think that's a big piece of it, though, is like there's definitely those moments where you need to sit there and kind of like look inwardly and self-reflect on the person and player that you are and things along those lines. So it was an interesting evening of me kind of like reevaluating myself as a player and how I interact with games. And I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear what other people think. I'm sure there'll be some comments in the in the Discord afterwards and things along those lines.
Yeah, yeah. But this is why I gave that answer of it's really both. Because yes, maybe if you had paid a little more attention, you might have caught this sooner. Maybe not. Who knows? And at the end of the day, like I don't know. You can only take accountability for so much. Yes, we're did this person have a bad experience? But I mean, it's like we say about conflicts. A conflict is not one person. A conflict is the intersection of both people. So,
Right.
I mean, that just is what it is. And if nothing else, it will be a learning experience. Because I mean, sometimes you get got by yourself. Because like my first Dredge Crusade game, and I saw how powerful. Or no, not my first. My second Trench Crusade game. I thought I was safe from this model. I was not. 48 inches or whatever its range is insane. It can attack corner to corner. Did I understand that? No. Was I a little salty that I thought I was safe from an attack and then I got blown up and literally from corner to corner on the map? Yeah. But at the end of the day, I had that information. I could have deployed differently. I didn't understand the information, but I had it. So I mean, that's on me. I hadn't had to measure that much on a 3x3 map before. I thought I had room.
Fair enough. Fair enough. It is a very different. It's very different playing on those types of games for sure. So, well, I mean, like I said, overall, I think it was interesting. Like I said, I don't know. Do you have any closing thoughts? I guess like, you kind of had some pretty closing thoughts there. Anyway, do you have any closing thoughts about the mitigating the salt, for lack of a better way of putting it?
Yeah, I mean, it just comes down to we're having a game together. We are working together to a conclusion. Yes, in this case, is it a competitive game, not a cooperative game? Yeah. So yes, we have a responsibility to make sure that, like, I mean, nobody wants to play against somebody who's just complaining the whole time. My dice rolls never work. Your dice rolls always work. I can never move because you keep pinning my guys. Blah blah blah. Like, no, no. You want to have a good experience, but
Right.
sometimes we're gonna have big feelings, and so we just gotta remember in the moment that uh, we're not we don't have to control our emotions. We have to control our reactions to them, and that's hard for nerds.
Yeah.
So just
That's
try
hard
to
in general in life, though, man. I mean, that's just a
right.
that's just hard in life. Sometimes it's just being able to sit there and control your emotions when you're dealing on a day-to-day basis. I mean, that's what makes Facebook so enjoyable, is that people can't control their emotions in a moment. So it's social media in a nutshell.
Well, and I will say, okay, I guess I have more closing thoughts. Look at this. Um, you also have good days and bad days, even with something you're good at. Because I will admit, I'm pretty good at customer service. I've been doing my job a long time. I'm good at my job. I'm usually pretty good at de-escalating people who are upset. I did make one mistake. I was trying to explain something to the woman about, because I also offered like another study room, like at another location. I'm like, I can look it up right now, and they're probably of it. They're like, it's 10 minutes from here. She didn't want that. And then she asked for a comment card, and I'm like, oh, great, here we go. And I probably should have stopped trying to diffuse the situation at that point. And instead,
Right.
I tried one more thing where I basically I was like, if you're going to write in that we're going to get a study, we should need a study room at this location. We're actually already working, like, we literally should have already gotten the study room, Todd, and it just hasn't happened yet. I don't know what's going on. My boss doesn't know what's going on. It's the government and bureaucracy and money. But I shouldn't have said that, because it seemed like I was shutting her down when I was trying to provide useful information.
Right.
So even though I most of the situation was not my responsibility, not my cause, I still did do something that made it worse. So we could be accountable. Like, was anything I was gonna say in that moment gonna be helpful? Probably not. But I could have taken a second and recognized that and just stopped. So even if it's not my fault that that woman got extremely upset and irate at the library. No, it is not. Did I
Right.
also contribute a little bit to the situation? Yeah, okay, so I'll be accountable for that. And remember, next time,
Mhm.
don't let my tongue be faster than my thoughts. I know that's hard for me. But, uh, like, you just evaluate, you do what you did. You're like, did I do something? This is the parameters. This is what's going on. We think about that. And then, recognize that maybe next time we need to, talk a little to our opponent at the beginning and be like, all right, how new are you? I don't know. But
Right.
like, that's hard. Like, you're at an event. Like, you also don't want to be the jerk who's like, I've been in the trenches since the dawn of time, Sonny. What
Right.
experience do you
I've been
have? Like, you
playing
don't want
this
to be
game
that
since
person
launch. Are
either.
you? What do you don't know what you're doing? And I do. Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Like, you gotta, there's a balance. There's a balance.
Right. No, 100%. I am right there with you. But all right. Well, it's probably a decent place to close out. We've been talking for a while on here. I had a feeling this might go along with this topic, and just because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this. But I do want to close out by thanking everybody for listening, tuning in, and I would be interested to hear the thoughts of anybody that wants to come and talk to us on the Discord about our thoughts. If you want to support the podcast, you can definitely do so by becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month. If that doesn't work for you, you can always rate, review the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, or if you're watching us on the YouTubes, you can like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Leave a comment, let us know what you're thinking there too. I definitely like to see all the comments that people have put there. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for listening, and may the salt be with you.
May the salty salt be with you.
Have a good one.